Many of you may remember the action that we did outside the Western Dairy Festival last year. It was, well, we got a lot of pushback, shall we say. I'll link that video. But also, there was a lot of F words involved, not from us, but from the Dairy Festival participants. So, imagine my surprise when a couple of days ago a friend posted something on Facebook and the Western Dairy Festival has been cancelled. Yay! I was amazed and fairly gobsmacked as well. They say, of course, that it's for financial reasons. People always say that, don't they? And they've kind of kept very sort of like stum about it. But I just wanted to share this amazing news because, you know, do we not all have this question mark in our heads about when we do our activism, how effective is it, or is it effective at all? And I love it when we get this kind of, it's kind of, I'd say it's sort of quasi-evidence. It's not 100% evident, but it's sort of like seems to be pointing in the right direction. Whatever else was being discussed when the Western Dairy Festival organisers were looking at perhaps at their finances and other considerations as well, it was probably not a great thing for them to include. Well, yeah, we had like a load of people protesting all day in really sort of like windy, rainy weather. And that's kind of gives them a flavour of how unacceptable, not to everyone obviously, but how unacceptable this kind of barbaric, medieval sort of torture fest is, growing more unacceptable. So I thought that was absolutely really good news. And again, it made me think about the forms of activism that we do and how we choose to do it, and whether or not we engage in activism at all. And obviously my thing as an activist is, yeah, we must all become activists. You know, all vegans need to up our activism game. So what the Dairy Festival organisers said was, the Dairy Festival Charity Committee announces the cancellation of the 2024 Dairy Festival. After careful consideration and assessment, the event will not be going ahead this year. Yay! They don't say that. The decision to cancel the festival stems from the event no longer being financially viable due to escalating costs. Of course they say that. Despite our best efforts, the increasing expenses have made it unsustainable to organise the festival this year, 2024. We want to express our sincere gratitude to everyone. So this was on their Facebook page. And then I looked at some of the comments, and what another beautiful surprise I got there. Because some lovely person said, "What great news! Dairy comes from the grieving mothers and orphaned babies taken away soon after birth, just so humans can still their mammary secretions. Who would happily take their children to see cows being forcibly impregnated, let them watch the calves being taken away from their mother as those mothers chase after those babies, and watch cows being slaughtered when their milk production slows? The vile dairy industry doesn't want people to see that side of it." Somebody else said, thank you, person there. Somebody else says, "Fantastic news," with a little heart emoji. Somebody else says, "That's a shame." There's a few of them like that, obviously. Then there's another one, which I enjoyed, from a bloke. He says, "I assume you are also excited about this contributor to the Somerset Festival," because somebody was banging on about how amazing it was for Somerset. And he's included a link to a Somerset vegan festival, which I thought was rather nice. And then he said, "Nice! Are you able to confirm that the escalating costs mean that it won't ever be back?" It put me in such a good mood to listen to read all these. And of course, you know, there's sort of like, you know, people saying it's so sad, etc. But I tell you what, that festival was a bit of a, I kind of co-organised it. So it was a bit of a scary one. We were kind of like really concerned about the aggravation that we might get. But I'd seen, since I'd moved to Bristol in like about 5 or 6 years ago, and I'd seen this so-called dairy festival advertised, I just thought, this has just got to be, you know, it's got to be on our radar. Why hasn't anybody organised? And I tell you what, trying to get the press coverage was absolutely impossible. I flogged myself to bits. Neither the Bristol media nor the Weston-super-Mare media would take it. But this cancellation of the festival was run in the Western Mercury. So, I mean, we all know that the media is unbelievably partisan on the side of the animal users. It was just, you know, another little, yeah, that's how it goes, which is somewhat disheartening. But on the other hand, you know, I just feel like really, that's a double win we've now had, Animal Activist Network. So that was the first one that we organised, the Western Dairy Festival protest. And then we organised another one. This was the Wing Fest. That took place in Bristol. It was a boiling hot sunny day. And that was also very effective because, again, we got loads and loads of people coming up to us. We were handing out flyers outside this disgusting chicken wing event thing. And people were handing out flyers. Now, the amazing thing about that one was that we got people... Some people were actually bursting into tears, or we could, I was out and about filming, and I caught people who I didn't necessarily see on the audio saying, "Oh guys, we don't want to, you know, we've seen the leaflets and we don't want to go in there now. We don't want to go in." And also we got several people coming up to us and on film saying, "Now we know what's going on. We're not going to go in." People who'd actually paid tickets, some of them were families. One woman was in tears. I'll link those two videos as well. So again, I mean, you know, you really do feel kind of, you know, as a lifelong activist, sometimes it can be quite hard doing the organising, but that is not a reason not to organise. That is not a reason not to be active. And, you know, I think you get news like this, and it's just like, it's like your reality shifts and you feel so, I feel so validated. And obviously all the people that came along, and I really hope that all the people that came along to the festival hear about this, that came along to the protest, just so that everybody who comes onto this protest, but also goes to other protests, like all the people that protest outside the slaughterhouses, whatever we do, whether it's a slaughterhouse, whether it's a so-called dairy festival, so-called chicken wing fest, whether it's MBR beagles, whatever it is, that is having a massive impact. We know they're having a massive impact. Even if we don't know at the time, this kind of news, the cancellation of a festival that's been going on for decades, I think they said since the 1960s, right in the heart of so-called farming country, you know, Somerset, is no longer financially viable. You could say all sorts of things. You could say, yes, that was part of it. You could say maybe it wasn't a major part of it. Maybe it wasn't financially viable because so few people actually turned up. Because people are starting to understand that the dairy industry is disgusting, cruel, and all the things that we vegans know about it. Maybe, why don't we just believe that? Things are starting to shift, and I think it's, you know, in terms of the motivation of ourselves to become more active, we need to say that, yeah, V is for victory now. V is for vegan victory. This is not just a one-off. We need to keep the pressure up in whatever way, shape and form we can. And I'd love to hear as well if anybody has found any of the activism that you do or would like to do effective or think it would be effective. Maybe it's following a similar sort of like pattern of what people have done before. Maybe it's something completely new and out of the box. I think we should kind of let's have a chat about that and share ideas and share hope, you know, share determination, share motivation, share like that feeling of fellowship and being with other people who think the same way, because God knows when you go into real life non-vegan land, you can find it an extremely lonely and upsetting experience. So let's be in our happy place today. It was sunny earlier. I was up early, did some yoga, and I'm just feeling really, really happy, and I wanted to share this with you. So let me know in your comments what you think. Thumbs down to Western Dairy Festival. See you next time.